Hello everyone, my name is Russell Youngblood and I'm a Senior Solution Architect here at OutSystems. In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about reusing code and extending the capabilities of the OutSystems Developer Cloud. There may be occasions in which it makes sense to extend your application with a more traditional code approach. Typically, this falls within three different scenarios. The first scenario may be that you already have systems that you're migrating to low code, and for various reasons, it may not make sense to migrate all of the code. The second scenario may be that you're facing a challenge while working in an application, and you find a piece of code in an online forum that solves the problem. In this case, you could just build a wrapper for that code or embed that code in the OutSystems application. Once you build a wrapper for that logic or segment of code, it can then be easily shared and used by other developers in the low-code environment. The third most common scenario is when you may need to create your own code to extend the platform with your own algorithms to solve very complex logic or use cases. With these scenarios in mind, there are a number of different ways in which you can integrate high code into your OutSystems solutions. On the front end, you can embed JavaScript and HTML for client-side customization and modify the CSS code to get that pixel-perfect look and feel. When building mobile applications in OutSystems, you can also extend the application capabilities by using custom Cordova plugins. When working with data, you have the ability to write complex SQL queries instead of using visual aggregates, and you can also build custom components using .NET and C# to extend the capabilities of your applications. In OutSystems Developer Cloud, we refer to this way of extending the platform as a function as a service. Using this process, the custom code is isolated from the application when it's executed, and this means that potentially malicious code cannot run in the application, nor does it have access to your other internal logic within that application. The applications are easy to scale, and everything is managed by the underlying platform. Now let me show you a demo of exactly how this works. To set the stage for our use case, let's imagine that I'm working on a banking application and I'd like to create a simple calculator that returns the value of a set capital investment over time. I'm going to leverage some existing code, create a shareable function, and then use it in this mobile application. So here we are in ODC Studio, and this of course is the IDE that developers use to build both web and mobile applications in OutSystems. Here you can see I have a very simple mobile application that I've built. It has one screen, and what I'm looking for is three input variables. That's going to be the amount of investment, the interest rate, and the number of years. And of course, what I'm looking for is a return of the total value. Now, this is something that I could actually write and come up with the logic here in ODC Studio. But since I already have some code, what I'll do is utilize that code working in Microsoft Visual Studio. So we'll go ahead and start up Visual Studio, create a new project. This particular project will be a library or a class library project. When I click the next button, we'll need to give that project a name. I think I'll give you the name future value. Click the next button, and we want to make sure that we're choosing the .NET 8.0 framework. Then I'll go ahead and click create, and we're ready to go ahead and start to write the code for this project. Okay, for the next step, we can right click on the project and choose manage NuGet packages. We can go to the browse section and do a quick search on OutSystems to find the OutSystems SDK. Once you have found the SDK, go ahead and click the install button. It's going to install it into the project so that we can use it, and then we'll need to go back on over to the code and reference it at the very top of the code. Now we're going to also add an attribute to decorate the entry point for this external library, and only one interface can be decorated with this attribute, and all of the public methods within this interface will be exposed as OutSystems server actions once we actually see this particular component in the ODC Studio library. So to continue on, we'll go ahead and create a function, and I will give this function a name, call it calculate future value. And then if you recall from the application that I showed you earlier, we're going to need three different parameters that we'll be passing in. So that one is going to be an integer, and we'll name it amount. One will be for the interest rate. And then finally, we'll have one last integer for the number of years. Okay, so those are the three parameters that we're going to be looking for, and of course we're going to be returning the future value. Okay, to speed up the process of writing this code, I do have some of this code already completed, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste it. Check everything for errors. You can see at the bottom there's a simple formula to calculate the interest in this code. One last thing, I'm going to go ahead and change the name of the C# file, and then we can go ahead and publish this, and we'll be able to use it in our OutSystems project in just a few minutes. So with the publish completed, looks like everything looks okay. We'll go ahead next and we will take this library and bring it on over to the OutSystems low-code environment. Okay, in the ODC portal, what we're going to do is look on the left-hand side and scroll down to find the external logic section. We can go ahead and click on that, and we can see some library components that have already been created here. What we want to do though before we upload this is go ahead and zip it up nicely, make sure all of the assets are in one compressed file, and I'm going to change the name of that file to future value. So we'll change the name and then kind of reposition the window just a little bit so that whenever I click the Create Library button, we can go ahead and drag and drop that zip file on over to the Browse section right here. So we'll do that real quick. Once you drag and drop this, you can click the Continue button, and then it's going to give you an opportunity to take a closer look at the file content. So we'll do that as well. We can go ahead and expand the actions that have been created. We can see the calculate future value action, the 3 input parameters, and we can see the output parameter calculate future value seems to be ready to go. So we'll need to go back and go ahead and publish this library. So we'll give that a second to publish, and then we still need to take one more step, and that is we'll have to release it once it's been published. So we'll go back to the external logic window, go ahead and click on that library item, click Release Library, and we have a chance to select the revision number, and then we can also give it some release notes here as well. So I'll add some notation and then go back up to the top. We'll click the Continue button, and that will go ahead and give us the opportunity to release this library into our infrastructure, and there we can use it with the applications. Okay, it's been a minute, but you may recall I do have a mobile application that's ready for this extension. So I'm going to go to the Public Elements window. We'll scroll down, and it shouldn't take too long to find our future value library. Sure enough, there it is. We can go ahead and select that, click the Add button, and that's going to add it to our project so that we can use it. Now, this one screen has a few input text fields, and it has a button. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the button. That'll lead me to the action, and we're going to go ahead and drag and drop our action or our function over to the action flow. We're going to go ahead and align the variables, amount, interest rate, and years. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and use an assign statement to go ahead and assign the final variable, the return, to the output of the action that we've added here. So we'll clean things up a bit and then go ahead and click the Publish button. We'll give it a few seconds to publish, and then we can go ahead and test this mobile app in the browser. Now, if everything works as it should, we should be able to see very quickly the emulator with the mobile application. It's going to prompt us with a message that it's been updated, and we'll test it out. Let's go ahead and put $1,000 as the initial investment at a 12% interest rate over 30 years. That should bring back about $4,600. So looks like everything's working properly. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to the OutSystems team or go to OutSystems.com.